be screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of, What If Ichigo Enters Queen's Blade? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Elsewhere, Ichigo, Lena and Rristie all jumped out the carriage and began walking through the town streets. Lena was very relieved to be free from her home and her family. Alright, we finally got out of Vance territory. Lena cheered. My, you're sounding like a little kid, Lena. Rristie said while she chuckled. Well, you're the one who planned it. Lena said. It was all Ichigo's doing. Rristie replied while feeling modest. All I did was help. But you two helped me escape, so I want to personally thank you both. Lena said. We're glad we can help, Lena. Ichigo chuckled happily. Shortly after, the trio arrived to an inn to stay for a minute. This should be a good room for you to rest for the night. Lena said while she sat on the bed. Hey Ichigo, where will you be sleeping at? Rristie asked. You're not going to be sleeping in another room, aren't you? I kinda am planning on it. Ichigo replied. Come on Ichigo, why don't you sleep with us? Rristie suggested. You can save some of the gold for the time being, all you have to do is don that medallion. Ichigo stammered a little, trying to reason his way out. Ichigo, Lena called him while sporting a blush on her face. I insist if you could sleep with us. Lena. Ichigo gasped as he didn't expect Lena to say such a thing. See, even Lena agrees. Rristie said. Come on, Ichigo. What do you say? Geez. Ichigo sighed while brushing the back of his head. Okay, fine. I'll do so. Excellent. Rristie patted his back while he sulked a little. Now that the rooming accommodations have been taken care of, let's go out and buy some food. Okay. Ichigo sighed as Rristie stepped out of the room. Lena then walked towards Ichigo and places her hand on his shoulder. If it makes you feel any better, Ichigo. I kinda like sleeping, with you and Rristie all together. Lena said as she tried to cheer him up. I know you won't do anything wrong and I know it when you saved me and Rristie that night. Ichigo looked up and turned to Lena as she giggled calmly at him. A small smile was made on his face followed by a little chuckle as he stood back up. Thanks Lena. Ichigo said. Now come on, we don't want to keep Rristie waiting. Right. Lena nodded as the two left. While they hurried down to the first floor, Ichigo checked to make sure that he still has his medallion in his left pocket. The three went to the outdoor market, not before checking the amount of gold they have at the moment. We might not have much but it's enough to buy us some food. Rristie explained. Alright Ichigo, I'll leave you with Lena while I go find some kinds of meat for us. Alright, then. Ichigo agreed while Lena nodded. Rristie smirked and left. When she's nowhere to be seen, he turned to Lena and gave her some rules. Alright, Lena. When it comes to going on a journey, food and water are crucial. Ichigo explained. We have to travel lightly so we get different kinds of food that are small but able to hold us for some time. Oh, but I did find some fruit that can hold us even longer. Lena said as she pointed to the watermelons. Ah, it's a good thing I'm tagging along. Ichigo smiled at her. Let's get a couple of them. I'll use another of my scrolls to preserve it. Ah, okay. Lena cheered like she's a little kid. Come on, Lena. Ichigo chuckled as the two began buying fruits of different sizes, especially the watermelons she liked. After spending what seems to be an hour, they took what they got to a table and laid it out. Ichigo took another scroll, opened it out, and placed it beneath the fruit. He then closed his eyes and used his Ryatsu to transfer the big fruit into the scroll. Alright, we got what we needed. Lena said as she handed him the scroll. Excellent. Ichigo happily nodded while he pocketed the scroll. Let's head to the center, I figure Rristie might be waiting for us. Right. Lena replied as she followed Ichigo back to the center where Rristie stood waiting for them. Rristie then saw them running back to her while carrying bags. Welcome back, you two. Rristie cried. I trust you got some small kinds fruit to carry on your travels. Yep, we got our own for the time being. Lena calmly nodded. That's good to hear. Rristie said. Come on, let's get a bite to eat. Okay then. Lena replied. You go on ahead, I'll catch up. Ichigo said. What's wrong? Rristie wondered. It's nothing, really. He chuckled sheepishly. I just noticed something while Lena and I were shopping. I'll be back. Oh, okay then. Hurry back. Rristie said as Ichigo left. Ichigo, hollowified and concealed with a hood, walked back into the outdoor market as he looked around at the different kinds of items they have. He then walked towards a merchant selling the finest clothes imported from the Far East. He began looking around until he encountered a uniform similar to his Shihakusho. He saw a black tight sleeveless shirt with gold-plated mosaic fabric stretched down the shoulders to the bottom of the shirt with matching kimono pants with the same color design. Alongside it has two arm gauntlets with white padding made of resin on top with black lines painted in a mosaic pattern. The design alone reminded him of his friend, Shuhei. Ah, you have such good eyes, traveler. The young female merchant said. This is a replica uniform worn by an unknown swordsman who died protecting his home in a war. You seem to be just the right height and size for it. Go on ahead and try it out. The merchant gave Ichigo the uniform to wear and took him into the tent for him to change. He undressed himself, dehollowified and used his combat pass to deactivate his uniform, only his Zanpakuto and his hollow powers remained. After a minute, he came out and stood in front of the merchant. She blushed darkly at the young Shinigami wearing the new clothes. So what do you think? Ichigo asked. You look absolutely irresistible. The female merchant said dreamily. How much do I owe you? Ichigo asked as he was about to get his sack of money, but the merchant stopped him. Please, it's on the house. The merchant kindly answered. Really? That's pretty cool. Ichigo replied. He took out another sack of gold coins and gave it to her. That's my token of appreciation. Thank you, young traveler. She cried as she hugged him while sporting a blush. Be safe on your travels. Ichigo replied with a bow as he donned his cloak and left the market. Elsewhere, Lena and Rristie were in the cafe eating their share of food while waiting for Ichigo to return. The only one who was starting to get a little impatient of waiting was Rristie. Man, what's taking him so long? Rristie wondered. Just be patient, he'll be back. Lena replied. Since you and Ichigo helped me so far, where are you two gonna head to next? Well for me, I'm gonna make one little detour across the Amaran Desert and then I'll be heading to the Queen's capital, Genos. Rristie replied. What's over at the Amaran Desert? Lena asked. Rumor has it that there's a princess there that curses anyone that invades her resting place. Rristie said. I can't let that moment slip by like that, you know. Oh, okay. Lena said as she pondered over what the princess of Amara might look like. As for Ichigo, I'm not sure what he has planned at the moment, Rristie continued, but knowing him he'll do what he can to help you become a better warrior and traveler. Little did Lena and Rristie know they were being spied on by a mercenary from behind the walls. Ikidna patiently waited until just the right moment to pass by inconspicuously. Elsewhere, Ichigo was heading to the diner where Lena and Rristie are at. But just as he took one more step, he felt a pulse. You felt it, didn't you, Ichigo? His hollow spoke telepathically. Yeah, I did. Ichigo replied. It seems we're being watched. Let's play it out, Ichigo's hollow suggested. Use your Hano-kuran to survey the scene and then you strike. Got it. Ichigo replied as he summoned his Zanpakuto. Hano-kuran. Ichigo said as he manifested a duplicate of himself in front of him. You go and jump up to the roof of that building. He watched as his duplicate used Shunpa and landed on top of the building nearest to the diner and allowed his inner hollow to possess the clone and Ichigo's left eye. Alright, we wait. Ichigo's hollow said as Ichigo went to the alley next to the diner and waited. He then donned his hood and summoned his hollow mask while he waited. Just then, he heard the shrieking screams of Lena and Rristie. Luckily he found a peephole next to him. He leaned in and looked at the scene of the event happening as he found a snake slithering across the table Lena and Rristie are at. Ichigo's clone then encountered a woman with green hair, a snake motif vest, and apparently no underwear or anything covering her lower regions except the same snake that spooked the girls inside, was coming out of the diner. On the side of her vest, has Rristie's small sack of gold. Start moving. Now. Ichigo's hollow warned him as he immediately got the message. Ichigo immediately walked out of the alley and casually walked towards the diner. Ikidna smirked as she got what she needed as she walked out, only to be bumped by Ichigo wearing a hooded cloak. Excuse me, miss. He bowed to her and then walked inside. Ikidna smirked and shrugged her shoulders as she resumed walking off. She suddenly stopped to realize the sack of money she took was gone. Ikidna walked back to the diner and peeked through the window to see the hooded man giving back the sack of coins back to Rristie. Where have you been? Rristie asked him. Sorry, Rristie. Ichigo replied as he removed his cloak and revealed his new clothes. I was out getting some new clothes, some more fruit, and oh yeah, stopping someone from stealing your gold. Ichigo, Rristie and Lena turned to see that same woman standing before them. I'm impressed you did such a slick move on me. Ikidna said as she sashayed towards the red-haired Shinigami. I guess I was too careless. Who are you, and why are you targeting Lena and Rristie? Ichigo said while he de-hollowified. Since you asked me so nice, I'll be happy to tell you. The elf woman answered as she pressed herself close to him. She smirked and looked at Ichigo's blushing face when her melon squished against his chest. My name is Ikidna, I am a veteran mercenary and this little buddy of mine is my pet, K10. Ichigo stammered while he blushed a cherry red at the flirtatious elf woman leaning against him. Ikidna chuckled at his reaction while K10 slithered around his neck and right arm. For a swordsman like you, you're really good looking. Ikidna smirked while she licked her lips. Like what you see here? She asked teasingly, causing Ichigo to blush even more until Ichigo snapped out of it and immediately used Shunpa to escape it. Ichigo immediately summoned his Zanpakuto and pointed at her directly at her face. Ikidna, right? Ichigo said. Two things, tell me why you are here and the other thing is. Why aren't you wearing any underwear on? Are you some kind of XHBTNST? Ikidna chuckled at the scowling expression on Ichigo's face. I was ordered to hunt down you three, by Count Vance himself. Ikidna replied in a sultry manner. As for you. Claudet wanted me to bring you personally to her. Not to worry, I won't hand you all to them, besides. I'm starting to like that fierceness you have in you, handsome. As for me, I am rather an XHBTNST. I am an elf though. My dad? Lena asked. Why would he do something? I'm guessing because of our daring escape that night. Rristie chuckled. Gotta admit, we did make it out with a bang. However, since I am in a giving mood, Ikidna said as she tickled Ichigo's and Lena's chins. I'll tell you this, there will be a gambling match, prize fighting to be precise. Prize fighting? Rristie asked. What's that? Ikidna chuckled while she pointed her thumb to the wall on her left. On there has a poster of two girls fighting in bikinis in the middle of what seems to be an arena. It's a women's only wrestling tournament. Ikidna explained. If you beat everyone in the tournament, you'll win the grand prize. That seems to be pretty interesting. Lena said until Ichigo cut her off. You're partaking in that wrestling tournament, aren't you? He asked bluntly. Ah, you know me so well. Ikidna said as she winked. I couldn't walk away from a challenge. Lena glared at Ikidna while she tightened her fists up. She knew from her heart that Ikidna's gonna be a tough foe to beat. If she wishes to become stronger in her travels, she must defeat those who are stronger or more strategic. She already made up her mind of what she's going to do. I'll take you on. Lena said, surprising Ichigo and Rristie. I'll beat you, and win the prize money. Ah, you wish to beat me? Ikidna asked as she smirked when she leaned down to Lena's height. You could barely beat Melona back at your home without that swordsman assisting. Ichigo growled as her insults, but his inner hollow managed to calm him down. Don't fall for her words. His hollow said. You know better than this. Don't worry, I'm not. Ichigo replied and then looked back to Ikidna. Lena's much different than you think, elf lady. I believe Lena can do this, I can see it in her eyes, the will to overcome anything in her path. I saw it when she fought Melona and I know she'll overcome you and anyone in her way. Ichigo withdrew his Zanpakuto and returned it into his sheath. Lena was astonished that someone besides Rristie is standing up for her. Ikidna was rather stunned at Ichigo's response and the fierceness in his eyes that she liked. She can overcome anything in her path, you say? Ikidna repeated what he said. She then chuckled at the thought. Okay then, have Lena fight every opponent in the prize fight and then when she faces me, we'll see who's right. We will see. Ichigo said. Hee hee. Ikidna chuckled as she sashayed to the exit. The prize fights tonight. Have her ready, until then. Ichigo, Lena and Rristie watched Ikidna as she walked out the diner as she vanished after blending in with the crowd. Ichigo, thank you for supporting me. Lena said. It's no prob, Lena. Ichigo replied. You'll do the same for me. Lena blushed and chuckled at Ichigo's reply. Rristie smirked as she wrapped her arm around his head and pulled him in. So Ichigo, do you know any good ideas on what to do? Rristie asked. Since prize fighting is like wrestling in a way, I'll help her out with that. Ichigo replied. Wrestling's a big thing in my time, so I'll be happy to teach her some moves. But against Ikidna, it's gonna be more than what moves I heard in my time to stop even her. How can you tell that from just looking at her? Lena asked him. Like you said, from just looking at her. Ichigo answered. There's something in her eyes that tells me, she's more experienced, about 500 years experienced. DMN, then how can we handle someone like her? Rristie asked. I know some moves that one of my friends from the Soul Society had taught me. Ichigo smirked. It's old, 2000 years old but very effective. Ikidna won't stand a chance. If that's your way of saying there's hope, then I'm supporting you. Rristie said while patting his back. Ready Lena? Ichigo asked her. It's time you get started with Wrestling 101. Right. Lena replied. Later that night, Lena and the others arrived to the underground stadium. After getting signed in, one of the workers led them backstage into her dressing room. After a minute of changing, she stepped out wearing a short unbuttoned blonde skirt with leg-high stockings attached to a purple garter belt and a long pink scarf that's tied around her melons, almost like they're about to pop out of that. Do you think it's a little too much? Lena asked while blushing lightly while hugging her endowed cleavage. Ichigo blushed as he looked to the side while covering his nose to prevent a nose-bleeding moment. Ichigo, are you okay? Lena asked him as she got close to him with her cleavage almost to his face. Mustn't look down. Mustn't, look. Ichigo thought as he tried to resist gazing on the jiggling orbs in front of his face. I think Ichigo will be okay. Rristie said as she gently pulled her back. I kinda think he likes your choice of clothes alongside that armor of yours. Rristie. Lena cried out in embarrassment. He's not like that. Relax, I'm just kidding. Rristie said while chuckling. All that matters is that you win the prize money. I will, for you and Ichigo. Lena replied. Wish me luck. Rristie watched as Lena ran out to the stadium. Then she turned to Ichigo who's dazed while trying to keep his nose from gushing out. She chuckled as she looked at him and then decides to walk towards him. She then leaned down with her face near his and looked at him. Sweet Cammy. He thought while he continues to calm down. You like what you saw, huh? She smirked while placing her hand on her shoulder. Especially having these all up in your face, huh? She rhetorically asked in a teasing manner while FNDLNG her melons in front of him, making Ichigo's chances of a nosebleed happen sooner. Not, now. Ichigo replied nasally, which caused Rristie to laugh at him. Why does every female fighter here always wear scantily clad clothing? He thought while looking away, blushing hard. After Ichigo calmed down and stopped his nose bleeding from happening, he followed Rristie into the stands and watched the arena where Lena is facing her opponent. Her opponent wore dark purple fishnet sleeves on her arms with a two-piece string bikini set. The two stood and glared at each other while their feet were in mud. Go Lena! Rristie cried. Lena, you can do it. Ichigo cheered at her. Lena turned to look at Ichigo and Rristie cheering for him and smiled at them in response. I remember what Ichigo had taught me already. Lena thought. I better put his teachings to full use. Flashback. It was sunset and Lena, Ichigo and Rristie are in an alley filled with grass. Rristie sat on the sides while watching Ichigo teaching the basics with wrestling to Lena. With each massing minute, she continued trying her best, only to end up getting a face full of dirt and grass. Regardless, she continued getting back up. DMN it, she growled, this is getting harder than I thought. Remember, Lena. Ichigo said. The key to wrestling is to use your opponent's strength against them. It's like sword fighting, but using your hands and your body as the weapon itself. You already did it before in your fight with Melona. I remember. Lena said as she remembered the fight she and Ichigo had against Melona back at Vance Capital that night, simply use my opponent's power against them. That's right. Ichigo replied. You have that potential to overcome your opponent. You just need time to awaken it. It's called instinct. Instinct? Lena wondered. That's right, an old friend taught me the very meaning of what that word means. Ichigo replied. Everyone has that to help define the warrior within ourselves. Rristie is one of the examples. She has the reason to win the Queen's Blade to help her home. What led her to do this? Instinct. Instead of using your brain sometimes, use that honed intent inside your soul to overcome and take down your enemy. Alongside being one with your intellect in battle, become one with the hidden urges inside you to become stronger and gain the power to overcome your enemy. It takes time to mstr that instinct of theirs, and then once they harnessed it, they shall become stronger in battle. Instinct, huh? Rristie pondered over the very word. Instinct has its other qualities, for example becoming one with the environment you're in. Ichigo continued as he walked towards a boulder in the center of the alley. Like this alley you're in, the ground is soft but not too soft, the large space around us for movement, and the position your opponent is in. Watch me take on that boulder. Lena and Rristie watched as Ichigo positioned himself. He crouched down while glaring at the boulder and then, he charged and tackled the boulder. Using his animal instinct, he lifted the boulder with some effort and then threw it a few feet away from him. Whoa! Rristie was rather astonished at how strong he is, though she's seen him fight against Melona as Saika. You have that instinct, Lena. Ichigo said as he walked towards her. It's buried inside your soul and it's up to you to awaken and HRNSS it. I believe you can do this, Lena. You're a strong warrior, like your mother. Ichigo. Lena pondered over what he said about instinct. Okay, I know what it finally means. Good, are you ready? He said as he prepared himself. I am. Lena said as she glared at Ichigo. Rristie and Ichigo saw a side of Lena she never seen before. Her eyes are filled with a newfound flame, burning continuously as it was steadily growing. Flashback ended. Instinct. Lena thought. It's time I find that inner beast of mine and HRNSS its strength. Ichigo, do you think Lena has what it takes? His Hollow asked. I'm sure, Hollow. Ichigo replied. I have faith in her. I hope you're right. His Hollow replied, until something caught his attention. I sense someone from behind. I bet it's Ikidna. He nodded while watching Lena fighting against her opponent. It wasn't long until she won her first match. It's time you show yourself, Ichigo said as it also got Rristie's attention. Stop hiding in the darkness, Ikidna. Ah, pooh. You can sense me. Ikidna playfully pouted while she stepped out from the shadows. You're no fun, especially since you're that faithful to that Vance girl. Why are you here, what do you want? He asked. As much as I like to enjoy teasing and flirting with you, Samuel. I'm only here to talk with the benevolent bandit. It's okay. Ichigo. I'll handle myself. Rristie said to him. Go celebrate with Lena, I'll catch up. Okay, but don't do anything stupid. Ichigo said with seriousness in his voice as he turned and walked off. Ichigo, I did it. Lena cried as she hugged him tightly, despite the mud on his uniform. Oops, sorry about that. Hey, it's okay. You won, though. Ichigo chuckled. Keep it up. I will. Lena nodded and then asked, where's Rristie though? She's talking with someone at the moment. Ichigo answered. Don't worry, it's all good. Are you able to continue a little more? You know I will. Lena smiled with confidence in her eyes. The tournament continues and Lena continues to win each of her matches thanks to Ichigo's teachings. Round after round, she steadily continues to grow stronger. Lena was finally in the final round. Elsewhere, Rristie and Ikidna were somewhere else. The two female warriors hacked themselves into the safe and looked at the prize money as it was almost filled up, preparing for the finals match. There's quite a bit of money, here. Rristie said. Just the way I like it. This here's pocket change to me. Ikidna scoffed. The prize money's worth 12 times as much later tonight. So what's in it for me? Rristie asked. I'm glad you're not beating around the bush, Rristie. Ikidna chuckled. But what I want in exchange, involves the little Vance girl you and Ichigo tag along with. What about Lena? Rristie wondered, which made Ikidna smirk and chuckle. She leaned in and whispered her suggestion to her. Later afterwards, Lena and Rristie were in the bathroom. She sat in the water to soothe her muscles before her finals match. Did you see Rristie? Lena asked. I won all those matches, just for us. I didn't promise anything. Rristie answered bluntly while she leaned by the entrance door with her arms folded beneath her chest. However, I am proud you came this far. Ichigo's teachings helped me this far. Lena said as she looked at her hands as she clenched them tightly. I won't disappoint him. Heh, you really like him, don't you? Rristie smirked. Rristie, Lena heeded her words as she remembered when Ichigo he saved her, not once but twice. Whether it was Ichigo or his feminine self, Saika, her feelings for the wandering spirit is slowly shaping. I guess I am, a little. Give it time, Lena. Rristie said. Anyway, you should go train with Ichigo before your fight with your final opponent. Thanks, but I'll pass. Lena replied. I know I'll handle her. I'll use her strength against her and win that match. I like that enthusiasm of yours. Rristie replied. Now listen, because the benevolent bandit of the wild is going to give you a little tip. You can trust it or not, it's completely up to you. What's that? She asked. Get away before you die. Rristie warned her. Do that and you'll get to live another day. I'll be fine. Lena replied while looking up to her. Rristie saw the same confidence in her eyes as Ichigo has. Very well. Rristie said as she stood up. Good luck, you'll need it. Rristie. Lena watched as Rristie then walked out of the room. Rristie was then in their cabin as she gathered her things. She then sighed as she left the room. Before she could take another step, a familiar voice was heard from her ears. You're leaving, aren't you, Rristie? She turned to see Ichigo standing behind her. Ichigo. Rristie said his name. I'm sorry, but I must. Why? He asked. Why do you have to do this? I'm the benevolent bandit of the wild, Ichigo. Rristie replied. I'm used to traveling alone. Sure, I helped you get Lena out of her home, but to be fair, I'm used to traveling alone. You rather go alone and let Lena down than help model her into the fighter she wants to be. Ichigo asked. I'm sorry, Ichigo. Rristie said as she walked towards him. She leaned into Ichigo's face while sporting a blush on her face as she caressed his right cheek with her hand. You know, you really are a handsome man, Ichigo. Any woman would love to be with you. Rristie. Ichigo said. I may be a teacher when it comes to surviving, but you the expert of how to fight with a sword. She continued. Hell, I carry a morning star for goodness sake. You're a Shinigami with a Zanpakuto. All I did was teach her the basics, just like how you did. So you want her to learn everything about surviving on her own? Ichigo asked. She's strong, Ichigo, thanks to you. Rristie smiled at him. Promise me that you won't tell her about this. Ichigo pondered over what she asked him. He knew it would break her heart if he tells her. He then scratched his head and sighed as he had no choice to say. All right, all right. Ichigo replied. I won't tell Lena. Thank you, Ichigo. Rristie said while smiling. Yeah, Ichigo was interrupted as he felt a pair of subtle lips pressed against his own. He was surprised that Rristie gave him a kiss to remember by. She wrapped her arms around his neck and pulled him closer. Unable to wrap his mind at what just happened, his body reacted with his arms wrapped around her waist. His crimson-red eyes met her light purple ones as they continued kissing for another minute, until they pulled their lips together, leaving a trail of saliva between them. You're really good, Ichigo. Rristie complimented with a smirk. Why, you're not too bad yourself. Ichigo replied while trying to get his mind to keep up. If you get Lena to Genos, then I'll give you more of that. Rristie said. As long as you keep what I will do as a secret. Fine, I'll do it. Ichigo replied. But it'll probably haunt me in the morning. Thanks. See you along the bend, Ichigo. Rristie said as she leaves the cabin, leaving the crimson-haired Shinigami behind. Are you sure about doing this? Ichigo's hollow asked. It is for the best. Ichigo replied. Rristie taught her the basics, now she must learn new things on her own. We'll see her again when we get to Genos. Ichigo's hollow pondered of Ichigo's reply and sighed as he let him do as he wants. I hope you're right. Ichigo's hollow replied. After Lena got cleaned up, she and Ichigo returned to the arena once more to begin the finals match. Seish Lena was confident she'll win it for her, Ichigo and Rristie. Only thing is, Rristie's not around. Do you think Rristie's gonna be able to see me in this fight? Lena wondered. Where could she be? I'm sure she'll be here. Ichigo replied. Right now, you have a match to win. Remember my teachings? Yeah, I remember them very well. Lena nodded. Then I wish you luck. Ichigo replied as the two hugged, causing him and Lena to blush suddenly let go of each other. Lena chuckled nervously as she went to change into her uniform of choice. She wore a one-piece white swimsuit that hardly covered her cleavage, with a purple band around her waist, and it was all tied up with a pink collar around her neck. Shortly after, she stood, unnerved in the arena as it slowly filled up with oil instead of mud. Oil? Lena wondered. What's with the oil? Ichigo donned his cloak and concealed his face with his hood. He leaped onto the support beams above the spectators and watched the fight from a bird's eye view. Just then the host made the announcement. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the prize fight final match. The host announced. Let's meet out fighters. On the left is our newbie with the pneumatic knockers, who fought her way to the finals. Everyone make some noise for Linnea Vance. I must remember his training. Lena thought as she held her own. Now, opposing our star newbie, is a woman of unparalleled skill. This snake charmer more dangerous than she is appealing. Please welcome her opponent, the alluring veteran mercenary, Ikidna. Just like the announcer said, Ikidna was her final opponent. The only thing she has on was her snake motif without the shoulder pads and her usual pet snake for a thong. Lena, be careful. Ichigo thought while he hid in the shadows behind the support beams. As the match begins, Lena makes the first move, only to have her slip and fall thanks to the oil. Heh, let me help. Ikidna said as she reached out her hand. Thanks. Lena replied as she got up thanks to Ikidna's help. Hee hee. Pathetic girl. Ikidna smirked as she has Lena's arms in a grip lock. Lena cried out in pain as she struggles to break free of her grip. What will you do now, little girl? As she struggled, she began to remember what Ichigo told her. The key to wrestling is to use your opponent's strength against them. It's like sword fighting, but using your hands and your body as the weapon itself. Lena nodded as she gripped Ikidna in a bear hug, lifted her up, and with her strength, she flipped and slammed Ikidna into the oil. Ikidna gasped from the recoil of her counterattack. Lena stood, looking down at the veteran mercenary. Had enough, yet? Lena asked. No, we're just getting started. Ikidna smirked as she slid herself under Lena's legs out the other side. She sat up and looked at Lena dead on, despite the oil soaking her hair. Suddenly, Ikidna has Lena in a camel clutch move with her sitting on Lena back and trapped her in a chin lock. Then she switched her style and performed a sharpshooter leg lock. It hurts. Lena muttered while she tries to resist the pain. She then remembered another of Ichigo's teachings, mainly on instinct. Instinct has its other qualities, for example becoming one with the environment you're in. Like this alley you're in, the ground is soft but not too soft, the large space around us for movement, and the position your opponent is in. I will not quit. Lena growled as she slowly began to rise, surprising Ikidna. Just then, she flipped her over and pinned her to a leg lock. NNGH. Not bad, girl. Ikidna muttered. I guess, I underestimated you. But unfortunately your luck will change. Lena didn't detect what has happened and found herself trapped in Ikidna's grasp. The snake charmer sat on Lena's legs while she has one hand around her neck and the other hand behind her back in a very uncomfortable way. Ikidna chuckled at Lena's cries for help. Everyone all cheered for Ikidna, all cried out saying, finish her off. Hearing those words, got the wild elf irritated. Because of that, she drove all the spectators out of the building. Get the hell out of here. Ikidna barked. I won't be bothered with men who are still wooed. As the last man ran out the building, Ikidna locked the doors and returned to her fight. Pardon the delay, little Vance girl. Ikidna said to her as she resumed her move on her. She smirked as she watched Lena face twisted into sheer pain as her arms and legs were being pinned back. I haven't had that much of a thrill in a while. Even K-Tan is getting excited. Stop making fun of me. Lena rebuked as she struggled to free herself. Echidna's snake slithered off from Echidna's waist and beneath Lena's pages. Next it slithered up her leg towards her almost revealed melons. K-Tan then slithered all around and between Lena's melons, revealing them fully. I almost forgot one other thing about my little pet, Echidna said before K-Tan sank its teeth into Lena's Rristie. Lena gasped with shock as she felt the snake bite. Its venom is quite dangerous. Who gets bit by him? Echidna chuckled even more. Lena screamed from the stinging sensation from the bite. Echidna's snake left. It wasn't long for the paralyzing effect to kick in. While it happened, Lena screamed even more as Echidna pushed Lena up from her back into the air while her arms and legs are intertwined with the wild elves. Is Echidna crazy? Ichigo's hollow thought. Is she fighting Lena or killing her? Echidna. Ichigo growled with his fists balled up and tightened to an extent. But just then he felt a faint surge of power dwelling within Lena. Are you ready to admit defeat? Echidna suggested while she kept on pinning Lena. If you do, I'll give you the antidote, but you better hurry before the poison spreads too far. We have to dash. Ichigo's hollow was cut off when he stopped him. Hollow, do you feel that? He asked him. That surge of power? Yeah. Yeah, I feel it now. His hollow said. Is that? We're about to find out, but first it's time Lena needs to be reminded. Ichigo jumped off the support beam and walked towards the arena. You're just in time to see the young Vance girl defeated by my hands. Echidna said. Ichigo didn't say a word but looked at Echidna for a few seconds. Then, he turned his sights to Lena. You're wrong, mercenary. Ichigo calmly said, which surprised Echidna. After he took a deep breath, he glared down at Lena with his crimson eyes. Lena. Are you forgetting about what I told you? Shin. Lena thought as she looked at him, though her vision was slowly getting blurry. Throughout this match, you're using your brain to help win a fight. Ichigo cried. You have to cast that aside for now and use the honed intent you have buried in your soul. It's hopeless, Ichigo. Echidna smirked. The poison is spreading through her body. She has about 3 minutes until she's in a state of shock. If she admits defeat, I'll give her the antidote. Lena, I believe you can beat her. He continued. Do you want to let your mother down? Those words jolted Lena's mind once more as she remembered everything about instinct. Everyone has that to help define the warrior within ourselves. Rristie is one of the examples. She has the reason to win the Queen's Blade to help her home. What led her to do this? Instinct. Instead of using your brain sometimes, use that honed intent inside your soul to overcome and take down your enemy. Alongside being one with your intellect in battle, become one with the hidden urges inside you to become stronger and gain the power to overcome your enemy. It takes time to master that instinct of theirs, and then once they harnessed it, they shall become stronger in battle. Instinct. Lena thought. You have that instinct, Lena. It's buried inside your soul and it's up to you to awaken and harness it. I believe you can do this, Lena. You're a strong warrior, like your mother. You're a strong warrior, like your mother. Like your mother. Your mother. Mother. I won't let you down. Lena said, which surprised Echidna. I won't let her down. Suddenly Lena's eyes glowed a whitish blue and her body was enveloped in an whitish aura. Using her honed instinct, she broke free of Echidna's grip and pinned her in a double leg lock with one arm and wrapping her other arm around her neck. It can't be. Ichigo's hollow said. Lena has. That's right. Ichigo replied with a smirk. Lena has the same thing as I do, abnormal spiritual pressure. How? How are you still moving even after Keitan poisoned you? Ikidna was dumbfounded at Lena's newfound potential. Lena didn't reply as she continued pinning her down. Lena's grip grew tighter, inflicting more pain onto Ikidna. Ikidna. Ichigo called her. It's her instinct that's giving her the push she needs to turn the tide of the battle. All this time she's been using her brain to help, but after I reminded her once more about the teachings I gave her, the power within Lena has finally surfaced. Ikidna scoffed at Ichigo's reply until she felt her legs buckling in. It wasn't long until she has no other choice but to surrender. Ikidna sighed and tapped the ground, signaling the battle to end. Lena then freed Ikidna from her painful lock and then she passed out. She's grown stronger, possibly stronger than me. Ikidna said as she carried Lena out the ring and towards Ichigo while her snake followed her. She then gave him the antidote. Give her this while she's asleep. When she wakes up, tell her that she already won the match. Ikidna turned away while keeping a calm smirk on her face. Ichigo then stopped her. What about the prize money? He asked. Lena won the tournament, after all. It's already in your cabin, Ichigo. Ikidna replied as she walked off with her snake wrapped around her waist. Ichigo turned to Lena and then suddenly realized her melons are shown. Ichigo's face flushed a dark red as he almost started to panic. The next day came and Lena was fast asleep in her bed. When she woke up, she checked to see if the snake bite mark was still on her, only to see that it's not there anymore. What happened? Lena wondered. I remember Ikidna pinning me down, but after that I blacked out. You are unconscious, but still you won the match, Lena. She turned to see Ichigo sitting by the window. I reminded you once more about instinct, and then you turned the tide to your favor. As for the snake bite and the poison, I already took care of it with the antidote Ikidna gave me. Wow. Lena slowly began to form a smile. I can't believe I won. Where's Rristie? I have to tell her the good news. Well. Ichigo sighed as he explained what happened last night. Lena was upset at first, but she did remember her telling her that they're going on their separate ways back in the diner. I understand now, Ichigo. Lena replied as tears ran down her face. She did say that she's splitting up from us earlier. I'm sorry, Lena. Ichigo said as he sat next to her and wiped her tears away. It's okay, Ichigo, although two good things came in the end, Lena answered as she leaned on his shoulder, causing him to blush a bit. I won the prize money, and I still have you. Lena. Ichigo blushed at her words. Ichigo, I want you to keep on teaching me how to become a better fighter. Lena said. What do you say, will you stay with me? Well, you know I can't say no to an appealing lady like yourself, Ichigo replied, so sure, I would love to accompany you on your journey. Thank you. Lena immediately hugged the red-haired Shinigami, happy to have him by her side. Shortly after, the two were outside the inn with their belongings in hand. He took his combat pass out and turned into his Soul Reaper form. Ready to move on? Ichigo asked. I'm ready. Lena replied. Time to walk the path of the warrior. Lena and Ichigo began their new journey together as they departed from the Queen's border. As they left, a thought encountered Lena regarding her fight against Ikidna. Ichigo. How did I win that match against Ikidna? Well, it's gonna be kinda confusing, but I'll tell you as subtle as I can. Ichigo said as he chuckled sheepishly. While the two were leaving, Ikidna was standing on top of a building watching the two leave the border. A smirk was made on her face as she remembered the time Ichigo out-thieved her and the time Lena outmatched her in her fight. She chuckled calmly at the thought. Lena Vance, and Ichigo Samuel. Ikidna thought aloud. You two outdid me yet again. I'm looking forward to seeing you two again upon your journey. Ichigo and Lena continued their travelings together. This time the two traveled down a grassy terrain with a dead oak tree in the center. Since their recent stop at the Queen's domain, Lena couldn't help but feel a little depressed since Rristie had defected them. "Hey, Lena." Ichigo called her. "Things are gonna be alright. You'll soon encounter Rristie once more." "What town did she say where the Queen's capital called, Genos?" "Yeah," she sighed. "Somehow I think this is my fault for causing Rristie to leave us." "No, it's not your fault, Lena," he replied. "Rristie believes you'll become a strong warrior. You got the potential needed. Plus you also got a power of your own that you awakened in your fight against Ikidna." "You're right, but how can I HRNSS it?" Lena asked. "The first time that happened, I was half unconscious. That's why I'm here." Ichigo replied. "You have the potential to become a soul reaper like me. We just need to help you MSTR it. There are two ways, you harnessing your power naturally, or what?" Lena wondered. Or I would share some of my power with yours." Ichigo shyly explained the other option, by stabbing you with my Zenpaku. We'll go with the first option." Lena replied while cartoony beads of sweat beaded down her head out of nervousness. "I don't want to be killed off on my journey like that." "I can't blame you. I'm scared myself," Ichigo said while he and Lena chuckled sheepishly. "When we get to a safe place, I shall help you with your sword training." "Okay. Looking forward to it," Lena happily replied. Back at the inn, Claudet stood in the room that the three wanted travelers were in. She looked all around the room thoroughly for any sign of evidence that was left behind, until she noticed something Lena did on the bed she slept on. She noticed that the blanket over the bed was properly folded thanks to Claudet's continue to look at the bed as she remembered the time she was teaching her back when the two were younger. Flashback. Lena was getting the hang of folding bed sheets while Claudet was watching her. Lena groaned a little as she was disliking this mediocre chore, but despite it all she had to get that chore done. Can't one of the maids do this instead?" Lena asked while folding another sheet. "Of course there is, but that's not the point," Claudet replied. "The child of a nobleman shouldn't leave things amiss." "Okay." Lena sighed as she continued. "You're going to be a countess one day, Lena," Claudet continued speaking, "so you need to be prepared. It could be easily you. If you feel like it." Lena replied while Claudet looked down at her with a quiet look on her face. Flashback ended. Lena. Claudet thought while she continued looked at the bed until she sensed a presence near her. "Hello, big sister." Ikidna appeared before her. "I had a lot of fun with your sister the other night. I did enjoy teasing her, even though I lost. It was wrong of me to rely on a common mercenary, who couldn't get the job done," Claudet said as she reached her hand for her longsword. "I won't tolerate such insolence coming from you." "Humph," Ikidna smirked. "You'll never know what could happen. Your little sister might meet her doom before her next destination and who will be in line to become the next countess. Did you help Lena and those criminals escape, so you make such stupid jokes?" Claudet drew her thunderclap out and attempted to attack Ikidna, only for the wild elf to flawlessly evade it by jumping to the side. "It occurred to me while I was having so much fun with your younger sister the other night," Ikidna explained while she evaded each of her moves, "if you become countess, then I could charge a bigger fee than what your puny father had given." Claudet continues to attack Ikidna all around the room, but no successful hit were made on the wild elf as she effortlessly evaded each of her moves. Skilled with a sword, refinement, bravery, and purity," Ikidna continued. "You have all of those then Lena, you would have easily became countess if you're up FO it, but just because you're a BSTRD child, you're forced to live in the shadows. Sad, isn't it? Thundercloud General." Claudet took a minute to sink her words in. Originally she would have fried Ikidna with her thunderclap out of spite and anger from her insults, but deep down Claudet and Ikidna did have a point about it. She sighed and lowered her weapon, causing Ikidna to see her differently. "Strange, I guess you're different than the rest," Ikidna said while her smirk remained. "See you around, Thundercloud General." Claudet watched as Ikidna made a backflip out of the window and out of her sights. She pondered over Ikidna's words for a second before she silently left the room. Elsewhere, Ichigo and Lena were in a forest training through the evening. Several grunts and groans were made along with the clashes. The two were heads completely drenched like they were caught in a rainstorm. The two trained for what feels like hours as the sun began to set over the mountains near them. The two made one final clash and then they stopped. "All right, Lena," Ichigo said while panting. "Let's call it a night. It's getting late and we've been at it for a while and I'm starting to get hungry." "Yeah, we should stop for now," Lena replied as she sighed and sat against a large tree. Ichigo arrived and sat next to her as she got the campfire set up. He took his scroll and summoned some of the food he and Lena bought from the Queen's border. "You're getting the hang of using your spirit energy, Lena," Ichigo complimented. "It's a slow process, but you're gradually getting the hang of it." "Ichigo," she called him while looking at the food in her hands, "how did you become a soul reaper?" "Let's just say, my life isn't all that normal before I became who I am now," Ichigo explained while he bit off a piece of meat. "One day, a hollow invaded my hometown, searching for me because of my high spirit energy. That was then I met Rukia Kachiki. That tried to stop the hollow themselves, but that hollow was different. It was able to paralyze them to stop them from moving. Because of that I was forced to defend them. Though I got beaten up by that hollow, I continued fighting until I wounded it. Because of my actions and my determination to protect them, I was then turned into a soul reaper and finished it off." "Wow!" she gasped. "You must have endured so much to become what you are now, huh?" Lena asked. "Is being a soul reaper a tough job?" "Since I am just a substitute soul reaper, it's not that hard," Ichigo replied while he took a bite out of a watermelon. "I don't usually go to the Soul Society often, only on times when they needed my help. To me it's like going on an adventure." "I see." Lena looked down and stared at the fire burning, thinking it over. She began pondering over her memories of her mother, father and her sisters while she was young. The number of times that Claudet had been actually helping her. She began daydreaming of her sisters, her dad and late mother were all together. Ichigo watched as a small smile was formed on her face and tears ran down her face. "Thinking of your family again, huh?" Ichigo pondered as it snapped her back to reality. "Why yeah, a little," Lena quietly replied, which made Ichigo sigh as he tossed a couple of firewood into the flames. "If your family loves you they should have let you make your own decisions," Ichigo said while he wiped off the tears. "Instead they're forcing you to become the next countess, only because they don't want you to suffer the same way your mom did." How did you?" Lena gasped, which made Ichigo smile down at her. "You have your mother's spirit in you, Lena," Ichigo said. "I know you're strong, very strong. It just need time until you awaken it. Once you awakened your power you'll overcome anything, even stronger than your mother. Just believe it and you'll do well. Ichigo." Lena was about to ask him something, but all she got from him was a pat on the head. "Get some rest, Lena. It's getting late," Ichigo said. "We'll talk some more in the morning." "Right," Lena replied as she watched Ichigo lean back against the tree and sleep while his zanpakuto beside him. "Ichigo believes I can succeed," Lena thought as she laid back, slowly falling asleep. "Does he believe I can become stronger than my mother? I won't know for sure, but all I know is that I have to try." Lena closes her eyes and drifts into her subconscious, sleeping peacefully while the campfire continues to keep them warm. The only words that she remembered from Ichigo was embedded into her memories. "Just believe it and you'll do well," were the words she kept in mind. Later that same night, Nanale was sitting atop the border walls with her hands holding her chin in place while enveloping in a bluish hue that made her stick out like she's a walking, flying nightlight. Reason: because she couldn't find any gullible contestants to worm her way in to broadcast a match for the Queen's Blade. Just then she heard a horse neigh as she turned to where it came from. It was Claudet as she was preparing to hunt Lena down herself. She smirked as she heard everything and summed it down to one thing: Lena versus Claudet. Finally. A golden opportunity. Nanale cried. I'm so excited, I can't wait to bear witness. I better follow her while I have the chance. Nanale immediately jumped off where she sat and flew towards the path Claudet's heading. With excitement flowing through every fiber of her being, she smiled and squealed, feeling ecstatic to broadcast her first match. An hour has passed and a storm enveloped the skies as Claudet raced through the grass-filled area on her horse as fast as she can. Her cold glare never settled and the words Ikidna said to her never faded from her memories. Skilled with a sword, refinement, bravery, and purity. You have all of those. Then Lena, you would have easily became countess if you're up for it, but just because you're a BSTRD child, you're forced to live in the shadows. Sad, isn't it? Thundercloud General, were the words Ikidna said as it etched a mark on the back of her mind. Rain and a runaway, just like that time when she and I were young. Claudet thought as she remembered that rainy moment back home, the moment after she saved her younger sister from falling off. Flashback. Hold on, Lena. Claudet said as while she held on to Lena's arm tightly. Don't let go. I will. I promise I won't let go. Lena cried as she was dangling off the edge. Using all of her strength, Claudet pulled Lena to safety. Are you okay? Claudet asked. Were you scared in any way? I was never really scared, Lena said, because I knew you was gonna save me. That's why I didn't cry all this time. Okay. Claudet replied as the two girls began their walk back. I will always love you, Claudet. Lena said while smiling. I always will. Claudet nodded while the two girls returned inside, drenched to the bone. While Lena was being treated from the cold, and the small wound, Claudet was back outside looking at the flower garden. Her facial expression, it was filled with depression from isolation. Just then, her father, Count Vance, appeared before her daughter. As he stood before Claudet, she turned towards him now that it got her attention. Those are some appealing flowers. Her father said. They seem gentle, and kind. After reining in her father's words, she turned her sights back to the flowers with tears developing in her eyes. Flashback ended. That day, I learned a terrible truth. Claudet continued, something that neither Lena nor anyone else should know. I knew my father loved me, even if he didn't want to show it, and without when or how. I just know that someday, he would smile down on me once again. But it also made me realize something else as well. All this time, I was the flower that must be kept from the sunlight. Claudet opened her eyes after remembering that moment with her father, as her glare sharpened and her father's love filling her momentum. Claudet raced through the storm-enveloped grasslands. Nanale flew over and ahead of her, despite her clothes getting entirely drenched. Ah, man. My clothes are wet, people will see my melons through this dress. Nanale growled while sporting a scowl with a tick mark on her face. This fight between Claudet and Lena better be worth me braving this storm. As Nanale flew through the storm, a strike of lightning struck behind her as it immediately spooked her like a little girl in a haunted mansion. Ah. Okay. Okay. Nanale cried as she flew even faster, leaving behind a trail of blue fairy dust behind her. The storm continued while Ichigo and Lena were resting. It wasn't long until Ichigo woke up to get a drink of water from the lake that's not very far from them. Before he went to the lake, he checked on Lena as she slept peacefully. As he smiled at her, he then resumed his trek to the lake. Unaware to Ichigo, Nanale landed near their campsite to get away from the rain, soaked to the brim. Ooh. I hate this storm, it ruined my clothes, my hair's a mess, and I'm hungry. Nanale muttered. She shivered from the cold. She sneezed while she walked through the forest. Man, why does Claudette have to pick a night like this to find Lena? It's not like I could spot Lena the second I see her. Irony struck her when she encountered Lena sleeping peacefully next to a campsite with some food laid out beside her. Her eyes sparkled with glee when she found the runaway sister of the Vance family, some food for her to eat, and a fire to keep her warm. She immediately took her dress, steel plate leggings, and her gauntlet off while leaving her white with blue polka dot panties on. She sat on some tree leaves and let the fire warm her up while she ate up the food that was saved for only Lena and Ichigo. Ah, that will hold me for a short while. Nanale sighed with relief as she laid back against the tree, and to top it off I found Lena. I am looking forward to seeing her and Claudette fight when that thundercloud general gets here. Unaware to Nanale, Ichigo has just finished filling the canteens up with the water from the lake and started to return to the campsite. He yawned a little as he walked slowly back to where Lena is. Knowing Lena, one of her sisters will be pursuing to where we are. Ichigo thought. We have to leave first thing when Lena wakes up. Time is of the essence. Ichigo's Hollow added. It's only a matter of time until either Claudette or Alina arrives. I know, Hollow. Ichigo replied. Once we leave I'll do something to cover our tracks so no one will try to find us. I'll use my Zanpakuto to create a duplicate of us to confuse them. I hope that plan will work. Ichigo's Hollow said. I'm just concerned about Lena and if she gets caught. I know, I'm feeling the same thing and the only way to prevent it is if we keep MOV-. Ichigo replied as he arrived to the campsite but stopped to see Nanale nearly naked in front of him. He and Nanale looked at each other for a couple of seconds until a blush adorned their faces. What the heck is going on? Ichigo screamed loudly as it caused Lena to immediately wake up from her rest. Ichigo, what's going on? Lena quickly asked him, until he pointed to the angel sitting beside her. Huh? She turned her attention to the dampened, half-naked angel sitting on the ground. Nanale chuckled sheepishly and waved shyly when Lena looked down at her. Lena rubbed her eyes and shook herself up, making sure she wasn't hallucinating. Why's there an angel here? I needed to stay dry from the rain. Nanale replied, that and I needed some food, the food that was beside the campfire didn't fill me up. Food? Lena pondered until she and Ichigo realized what she meant. They turned to see the two empty scrolls with not a single trace of food left. They remained dumbfounded with their jaws dropped at what has just happened. After a moment of shock had passed, the only thing they screamed out loud was, what happened to all of our food? A few short minutes and several apologies had passed and the little messenger angel was sitting in between a scowling overblushed Shinigami and a concerned noble, and the only thing that's keeping her, well, clothed until her dress dries up is Lena's cloak covering her ample cleavage. Care to tell us who you might be? Lena calmly asked. Well, I'll be happy to answer, Nanale happily replied with a smile until it was quickly replaced with a scowl of her own when she turned to stare at Ichigo. If this guy wasn't staring down at me like that. Well, if you didn't eat up our food we saved for the journey ahead, I wouldn't be staring down at you like this. Ichigo calmly rebuked with his hands in his pockets. I already said sorry for, like, the umpteenth time. Nanale cried out and then sighed. Anyway, I am Holy Angel Nanale, and I'm a messenger from the heavens who came to bring true order to the world. I was just passing by until this freaky rainstorm came and drenched me and my clothes completely. I landed in the forest since the trees and leaves are big enough to block the rain. As I was walking, I grew very hungry and cold, that is until I found this campsite and some food. I'm sorry for intruding. Ichigo looked down at Nanale and pondered over her explanation while she looked up at him and Lena while showing off her please fall for the helpless girl act, with a quivering puppy dog pout as she bowed before him and Lena. Come on, take the bait. I'm bowing on the cold ground over here. Nanale thought. His scowl remained on his face as he decides if he should forgive her or not. I know angels divine beings, but from the ones I seen in books, they have halos and wore long dresses. Ichigo pondered, but I wouldn't expect angels to be, well, short and limp-winged. How dare you criticize me like that? Do you want me to unleash my divine wrath upon you, human? Nanale cried out, which caused Ichigo to raise his hands up defensively. Hey, take it easy. I'm just saying. Ichigo replied. Just then his holo telepathically contacted him from his inner world. The two stood in a black mental void while his physical self continued thinking. I think you should forgive her, Ichigo. Ichigo's holo said. I heard that angels were supposed to be good entities since they do live in the heavens. But... Ichigo wondered as he waited for his holo to continue. But something's off with this one, he continued, trust her but also keep a close eye on her, okay? Alright then, I'll play along. Ichigo thought as he and his holo ended their communication. He turned his attention to the blue-haired angel who looked up at him with her puppy dog pout. He took a deep breath and made a heavy sigh as he looked at Lena, who simply nodded. Alright then, Nanale. I'll let this one slide. Ichigo said as he crossed his arms in front of his chest. Yay! Thank you. She immediately paused when she remembered that same red hair from the Vance castle the other day. Hey wait, I think I remember you. Yeah, I remember that same red hair of yours. You were at Vance castle the other day. You saw me? He asked. Wow, even in my female half, I guess some of my physical appearances remained the same. Female half? Nanale wondered. Why yeah. He chuckled sheepishly while he pulled out his medallion from his inside pocket. Whenever I wear this medallion, I turn into my female half that I named Saika. However, my real name is Ichigo. Ichigo Samyu, and this lovely lady beside me is Lena Vance, second daughter of the Vance family. Nanale said jovially. Don't worry, I heard about her and her sisters, Alina and Claudette. So how did hot guy like you wind up with a rebellious girl like her? Well, let's just say I kinda crash-landed into someone else's business. Ichigo replied while rubbing the back of his head. Lena chuckled alongside him. Really, talk about timing. Nanale said. What are you anyway? You're not like any other warrior I heard about. Ichigo, S.A. Shinigami. She paused to look at Ichigo, from another time. He was transported here with that mysterious medallion that turns him into his female half, just like he said. Yeah, he said while a shy smirk was worn on his face, pretty much sums it up, kinda. Wow, a time-traveling Shinigami. Nanale said. That's gonna be added into the Queen's Blade World Records. Hey Ichigo interrupted her, I didn't say I'll be joining this Queen's Blade. I don't even know what other things this tournament could have if the winner of it all could get. All I want to do is return to my home, once this journey is finished. After hearing what Ichigo said, Lena grew a little depressed at what will happen in the future. She tightened her fists while looking down at the fire. She remained quiet while Ichigo was explaining how he was here, until he then caught an eye on her being so quiet and distant. Lena, he called her as it snapped her back into attention. Hey, are you okay? Why yeah, I am okay. Lena replied to him with a fake smile on her face, hiding her real emotion. Then she turned to Nanale, getting her attention. Anyway, until you're all dried up, you're more than welcome to stay here for now. She offered. Thank you for the offer. Nanale replied cheerfully, although her mental point of view says otherwise. Her conscience made a smug smirk while chuckling in a haughty manner. Yes, they bought it. Nanale thought. It won't be long now until Claudette gets here. Elsewhere, Claudette arrived to the entrance of the forest path. She glared at the path before her, thinking that Lena could be in this location. Just then, she caught a faint but small whiff of smoke, a campfire that not too far away. She tightened her grip on the reins of her horse and went on through the forest path. I'm almost there, Lena, and when I find you, I will take you back, even if I have to do it by force. Claudet thought. As for that Shinigami friend of hers, I will make his journey reach its end, permanently. Meanwhile, Ichigo took his Zanpakuto and scrolls and slid it in his right side of his sash and looked at the two girls while stretching his arms out. At the same time, Nanao donned her dress once more and her alongside Lena gathered their things together. I'm gonna go hunt for some food around these parts, Ichigo said. In the meantime, you and Nanao stick around here. I'll be back as soon as I can. Alright, Ichigo. Lena replied with a nod. Hurry back, okay? He nodded as he immediately left using Flash Step. Lena was impressed at Ichigo's agility and pondered on how she could learn how to do that. Nanao was steadily fascinated at Ichigo's looks despite his recent scowling moment as a smirk was shown on her face. Her dream of having her own male HRM would be perfect if she has a powerhouse like Ichigo as one of her dream guys to start things off. Aside from that, stare down, Ichigo looks so hot. His demanding voice, that fire in his eyes, his lean but burly body of his. He's the total package. Nanao was lost in thought as she started to silently squeal in excitement until she then noticed Lena walking off to the lake. The blue-haired angel immediately followed her. Hey, Lena. Where are you going? Nanao cried out. I'm going to get some water, she replied. After that, I'll be leaving with Ichigo. But. Nanao stammered. What is it? Lena wondered. Aye. It's time for this game called Nanao's Queen's Blade Q&A Corner. She said as aroused to stall Lena until Claudet arrives. I'll give you a special deal, I'll answer any question involving the Queen's Blade or the participants. It's also free of charge. Come on, what do you say? No thanks, Nanao. Lena answered quickly. What? She cried. The Queen's Blade is a special tournament that happened once every 4 years to determine who's the next queen is. I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in it. Lena replied. All I care about is Rristie and Ichigo guiding me to become stronger. Nothing more, nothing less. The two were full of such vitality and life. They were the only ones who saw me for who I truly am. Is that so? A familiar voice was heard, causing Lena and Nanao to stop. The two turned to see a horse and a familiar face. Her bright green eyes glared deeply at Lena as she stood a few feet away while the fog cleared up. Claudet. Lena said. You followed me all the way here. Why would you do this? Lena, we are going back to the castle. Claudet said bluntly. Let's go. No, I am not. Lena replied with vitality. I refuse to go back and live my life in that prison of a home. I don't care what my father says, I am free now and I will do what I want with my life. Tell me then, what is the purpose of going on this journey, to take part of such vulgar games? Claudet asked. You're going to be countess one day, but to take part on a journey with that thief and that sword-wielding traveler. You bring a disgrace to the family name. Lena looked down, upset while heeding her older sister's words. Just then, she remembered something Rristie said to Lena back at the orphanage. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.